Welcome to East Tennessee Pinball. Today I am headed to the American Museum of Science and Energy up in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. They gave me a call. So their Van de Graaff generator is making funny noises. It's working, but it's just kind of grinding, making noises. So I'm going to go up there and take a look at it. We've also got a little display. It's got a couple of robotic arms that are, you like. I don't know exactly what it is. It's got a display, and the hands don't grip. He said like the thumb doesn't come together, so you can't. Doesn't work. It's broke. That's what I say. Anyway, so I'm gonna go up there and take a look at those two things and see if I can make it work a little bit better. We'll see when we get there. Well, here I am at the AMSE. Gotta see by the offerings here. It's kind of a kids museum. A lot of kids get here during their school trip, so I'm gonna run inside and see what they got. All right, so here's the Van de Graaff generator. I'm going to turn it on. It's making kind of a lot of noise. Just a lot more than it used to, apparently, based on the people that worked on it. So I'm gonna turn it back off. Let this thing. Sounds like the bearings are shot to me. I just had the head of this off a second ago. So there's a belt that spins, picks up the electrons on this little wire that scrapes them off there. And I just looked at this pillow bearing here, and there's no play at all. But if I like that, I can hear play. Well, it sounds like play in the bottom. So I'm gonna try to dig into this thing. It looks like if I take off these screws here, I can peel back this kind of facade and get to the guts on the bottom here and check out the bearings. There's got to be some kind of bearing for this belt on the bottom side and see what's down there. Well, I had to take this ring off of here because this little plastic thing was seated up in the top and bottom. But once I got in here, first thing, you see this belt's pretty shot, pretty loose. The other thing is, this shiv here is, it's whatever's supposed to hold it on there, that little set screw is not setting, so it's not tight. Maybe it's sheared off, or I can't even see it on the inside of there at all. So I don't even see. That's so strange. So there's the set screw there, but there's no hole for it on the inside there. I'm gonna have to get my spectacles on and see if I can see better. It does have a key on that shaft that set screw should come down and tie it up on. But so this thing really needs to come out, and those threads need to be drilled and then tapped all the way through. I believe that's the solution. Of course, this thing has probably been in here for 30 years. I know for a fact. I have sat in this room with my kids 10 years ago when they were here for a field visit, like about 10 years ago, yeah. And my daughter stood up on the stage and her hair stood up on end. So it's at least 10 years old. There may be a date on here. What does that say? 69, I think? Yeah, that says 69. Well, that would make it 54 years old, about, because I'm 68, and I was born in 68, and I'm 55, so, yeah. That was, I don't know, I'm blown away. I'm shocked. So, I may take this with me and drill that and tap it. And I may just take this belt too, and maybe just go to the Napa store and tell them to get a belt just that exact same size. Oh, it's got a part number, even better. I bet I can look up a part from that. So I think that was it. I just showed this to one of the volunteers, a guy named David working the front desk. And of course, he had a laser in his pocket. And he saw that little indentation there right in my thumb, and I started digging around with the pick, and it is tapped through. That little tiny light spot, that is the tip of that set screw. So it's just filled in with muck. So it is tapped. You're right, it is tapped through, David.
Mm-hmm.
I dug around with a
I think the screw fell out long ago.
well, no, it's in
Still
there.
in there?
It's still in there. It's just down.
Mm.
It may have broke off, or that, I don't know. So this is one of the robotic arms. This motor here, which is up like this, has the little fingers go together, is not operating. So I am in the process of unwrapping all this electrical tape, and I'm gonna try to see if I can measure any voltage going to it. Could be the motor's burn up, could be it's not getting power. So I just want to get it to where I get a multimeter on it, see if it's getting any power. Okay, I got my multimeters. I'm gonna put my knee on the button here. When I press the button with my knee, I got 14. It's got my multimeters in there backwards, or it's wired backwards. I've actually got red and red and black and black. Let's just say it's wired backwards. I don't know, but it's getting voltage. Motor not working. I'm gonna say the motor's broke. So, oh, there's part number. Man, if somebody sells this thing, that would be the bomb. So I'll take a picture of this. I just did a Google search for that 2L007. Granger's got one of these for $200. So that should be a plug and play. Have to take this little finger off and put it back on there, but you know, bolt everything back up. So I think that will be an easy fix. So this other one, this one, the hand doesn't work either. And on this one, it kind of works. This one's more of a power issue, I think. So if you look at that hand in there, if I press, these are the 5 digits. So that's the thumb. Thumb works. First finger, second, third, fourth. Oh, you couldn't see it because it's behind the thumb. But if I press 2 of them at a time, press 3, nothing happens. So if you press, you press 2 of them, it just doesn't have enough juice for. So I'm going to say that this is a power supply problem, that other one was a 12 volt motors. I'm betting these are all 12 volt motors also. So probably down the belly of this thing, there's a 12 volt power supply, and I'm going to say it's shot. How about that? So I'm going to have to find Quinn, get the keys to this thing, and figure out maybe I can just get a arcade 12 volts power supply. Maybe that's what it's got. That would be awesome. That would be like a $30 plug and play boom, and maybe get this one up and running again. Those are kind of weird looking motors. I don't even see any wires. He's talking about air pressure on this thing. Surely it's not pneumatic. I don't see any air lines. No, there are wires down there. Okay. Yeah, I see little white wires sticking out of there. So they're just little solenoids. But anyway, I'm gonna bet that these just don't have enough juice. So that one there I can read. That's a 12 volt motor. And the rest of this thing, it's kind of cool. It goes left and right. And I think maybe this one left and right doesn't work. Not sure what that would do. So that motor there, that one there is working. That one right there. Oh, that does that one. Oh, this one left and right. That would be that motor, that one right there. That would twist the hand. It does it like this. And that one's not working either. So basically the rotation, this one right here. So that might be another motor. I wish I could get in there easily and see if that's the exact same. I want to bet that that's the exact same motor. Maybe I can get to it from this side. I bet if I zoom in, maybe I can. 2L007. Yes, that's what it is. Okay, so maybe I'll just take a flyer and buy 2 of those. I think I will. All right, so I got that shiv put on there. I'm gonna fire this dude up real quick. Turn on the juice, and I don't know if the spark's showing up, but you can hear it popping. If I'm really brave, I can touch it, but I'm not that brave. If I was, I'd touch it, but I'm not going to. If you stand next to it, touch it. If you're brave like these people, and if you have hair, which I don't have any of those qualities, it'll do that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna go back and work a little bit more on that finger. The little hand gripper I already started on that. So a couple days before I left, I got the model unit on that power supply there. It's a regulated 13.8 volt power supply. So I ordered one of those. I dug around here and they had a couple of motors, including one for this finger here. I just wired it up. And so now, and I figured out what this other button, one is forward and one were clockwise and reverse. So that thing's working. So now I just have to move this finger and stick it on here and put this thing back together, and I think I'll have at least this one going. Well, so this original one, somebody's drilled a hole through the shaft, which is present on the new one. I had this cotter pin in there to keep this thing from sliding down. It's got a keyway for a set screw, but this device here doesn't really have a set screw. Actually, there is one right there. That's just that. So that's not the set screw. That's for. Shoot. I don't have any means really to drill a hole in that with me here. I didn't bring a drill. So that's not going to go together today. Well, yeah, and this thing came apart when I was messing with it. So these bolts here go through so I'm gonna take out these that hold the case together and put these through there, which basically mount it up to this plate. So these original ones here, they're going to come out, I believe, unless I can just bolt it up with these. These nuts are probably not gonna fit it. They might. They do. We'll see. So I don't have any means to put that on there. So if I had some JB Weld, I'd almost be tempted, but then it's like then it's a one-time fix. And when this motor dies, then somebody's really in trouble. So yeah, that should have had a set screw, because now I got to drill a hole. I don't have the means. Well, I'll do that another time. So I figured out one more thing on this is, let me scroll y'all out. So it's up and down. But the down, it's not going down if I hold that with my leg here. Whoops, if I get my leg up here, hold it down with my leg, and if I push on it a little bit, get it going, it will actually run down. So that motor there is mostly shot. You know, it'll go up, but it won't go down unless it gets a little nudge. So I'm gonna swap out that motor. There's another one in there, but I'm not gonna do it today because I don't have time. And I got to take this, get a machine, or not machine, drill a hole through it. And I noticed on this one over here, that's not working there. If you look right there, the end of my fingertip, there's a pin in that one. So that one's gonna need a hole in that shaft also. So, and that, I've only got one of these here. So I gotta order that one. When it comes in, drill a hole in that one, drill a hole. And this one, I've already got it wired up. I have to unwire it, take it. So I'm coming back and also come back with that. So I'm gonna have several things to bring back with me. Until next time, it'll be like 2 seconds for you guys. Well, I'm back at my shop and I've got this motor. I'm looking at this picture where the cotter pin goes through. It's right up flush against there, so it's beyond this flat part. I don't have a proper punch to get a little indent to start drilling. So what I did is I took that out, that little bolt there. I'm gonna put the grind wheel and just kind of extend that flat piece a little further so I can have a flat spot to attempt to get a drill started so I can drill through this. And hopefully I'll have some luck. Well, it's a little bit crude, but I think it will function to give me a spot where I can start drilling. Get my vise set up here. I'm gonna just clamp it in there and get a drill. I don't have a press here, so I'm gonna just hand drill it. All right, I got it drilled out. It's only slightly off center. Truth is, if I hadn't shown you, you'd never know. That's for dang sure. So I'm gonna do the other one now. All right, I got the first one down. I'm gonna step it up 2 more times. Wow, I'm really zoomed out. Yeah, 2 more times, and I have the second one done. Looks like the second one a little bit better centered. My concern really is on both of these is the original holes where somebody drilled them and then they wallered them out longitudinally. So they must be a little bit sensitive on where they are on the shaft to get everything to line up. I'm guessing somebody drilled a hole, didn't quite like it, and they wallered it out with the drill bit. You know, put the drill in there. That's what it looks like to me. So I'm bringing my drill and my bits with me because I may end up doing that also. This one is a little bit further out from the shaft because this one here is actually for the other one. Here, I'll show you where. It's for this one here, and the hole is a little bit further away from the shaft, so I tried to get it about the same there. Oh, that's almost to scale. I guess I could have done it to scale almost. Anyway, that's pretty close. Again, I don't know how sensitive that is along that length of how much play there is. Maybe 0, maybe a little bit. Anyway, so I'm bringing my bit, and I may have to waller these out a little bit further when I get out to the lab. And I say the lab, it's not the lab, it's the museum. Anyway, so probably next week I'll head out there and try to get this thing put together. And I got my power supply sitting in that little brown box down there. And there's the other motor I just drilled out. And so I'm ready to head out to the museum and put this thing back together and see if it works. So I am back at the AMSE. I'm first going to swap out that 12-volt power supply. Got one that just looks just like it. So hopefully that will get this one working, with the exception of the wrist that goes left and right. And heck, maybe if it's got enough power, that will start working also. I don't know. I was hoping that this would just set in there, but it's screwed down, and I can see this other one. Somebody's taking the cover off of it and run a wood screw. This is that little copper wood screw. Or not copper, but yellow. Those. So they're screwed in from the inside, so it's going to take the outer. So there's one of those wood screws driven down there to hold it in place. Not really necessary this to be held in place because it's not like, well, I guess maybe they carried it in here. I guess I will go ahead and put the screws back in the new one. All right, I got that kind of temporarily mounted. I don't have it screwed down, don't have the cover on it yet, just kind of making sure things are working. See, okay, left, right, up, down. So that left, right, it's not working, and I'm pretty sure that's that wrist, so I think that motor's bad. Up, down, try the fingers. So they're all working simultaneously. They work. I wasn't even filming it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and simultaneously. So it's got the juice now. So we're cooking. So still got to replace that motor there and the motor on the other side. I've got them with me. So I'm gonna button this thing up, drop a couple screws down the bottom, and put the cover back on, and get to put these other motors on. All right, so that's all good. By the way, I noticed another one of these covers is in the back. So somebody has swapped this power supply out once before. So I expect this one or that one to go out sometime in the future. I mean, they're on probably 24/7. So yeah. So I was going to put this part up here where this old one was, and I realized that the holes on this original one, I believe they've been drilled out for these larger bolts. These bolts, oh, they will. I didn't think they would. They won't come up. They won't come through the other side. Yeah, they'll fit one side but not the other. So I'm gonna have to drill this out just a little bit so I can get this hardware to fit through. And then I think I can get this part here going. Then I've still got to, I think it's this mechanism and the motor's on the back side. I got to swap that one out with this one right here. So I'll probably go outside to drill this just so I don't make a mess in here. I got this motor in there, and then I realized I've got these two, one bracket just hold the wire and another ground, and they need to be on those two nuts, so I get to take it apart and put it back together again. And so I had that stop down here. It needs to be up here. I also had to wall around that hole. It was a little bit too close inside there, so I think I'm ready to put this back on. And now if I get this where y'all can see, we'll see when the hole comes up there. That's not the right place. Where is it? There we go. Hard to get my light on here and the camera at the same time. There it is. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can get the cotter pin in. All right, so I got it all put together except for doing a proper job on those wires. I did not bring my soldering iron. I don't have any connectors, so I'm gonna have to come back and wire these up properly. But anyway, we can just kind of see that works. One of the cool things about this whole setup is the way I just look at it as a good engineering design. It's like, it's one thing to design something and make it work. It's another to design it so that it won't blow up. See how it's running and it's still spinning, but there's clutches on every one of these motors. So, you know, it's one thing to design it so it's work. It's another, you know, that some kid's going to come up here and just like, it doesn't have to be a kid, it be a grown up, just burn your motor up. So you put the clutch in there, it takes care of it, you know. So anyway, so that's done with the exception of that. All these wires I'm going to have to come back another day. I'm going to see if that motor right back there, it goes up. Not that one. That one there. It goes up. Well, now it's going down, but sometimes it doesn't go down. Well, maybe sometimes it does. 10 minutes ago, that was not working. Since I gotta come back anyway, maybe I'll leave that one for another day and see if that maybe. Sometimes these motors, they like a little exercise. You can get a bad spot in them. So maybe. Yeah, that one was definitely not working earlier. So anyway. Well, I just had some fella come up here and he was wanting to try this out. So yeah, let me know if it's not working. And sure enough, it wouldn't go down. This motor would come up and not come down, which is really in and out, kind of this motion. But anyway, so I'm gonna yank that off. I think it's just 2 screws because it's, well, maybe actually the whole plate. Or I could potentially just take the motor off, maybe. I might just take the motor off here and throw it on there. Let me try that. Well, unfortunately, these have kind of a safety bit, little star pattern, and I don't have any of those bits with me. I may see if I think I can get some pliers on here maybe and just yank them out with pliers. So I got my good motor taken apart. Just got some pliers to get started, and then 7:30 seconds is close enough to get the rest of it out. So let's see if I can do the same on this one. This is going to be harder to get my pliers on too because it's all tight in there. All right, I got the old one out, so I got my new one here. The trick is going to be getting this in there because it's little like throwing in a transmission. You got to get the splines to line up. So I'm not gonna be able to film this because I'm doing it kind of. It's hard to even get to. This thing doesn't turn any further than. I guess I could take that stop out, and I could turn it further. But anyway, I'll probably just see if I can jam it in. All right, you can't see it, but it's in there. Let's see if it works. I think it is working now. I never saw it work this well. Okay, I think this one's done except for this. I may try to twist those really well and put some electrical tape on there, and I'll just leave them like that so I can be the biggest hypocrite in the world. No, I'll come back and fix them eventually. Next time, I don't know when, but I'll come back, and I will definitely come back and either solder these or at least butt splice them. I don't really, I'll solder them, but I'm gonna, so that way people can play with this thing. I'm gonna twist them up really well, electrical tape. Okay, if you really thought I was gonna put electrical tape on there, you don't watch me in my videos. I don't keep electrical tape in my toolbox. I would not do that. Come on now. So here's that other motor. It looks like it's just a couple of nuts to take off to get this thing free, and the one cotter pin. So yeah, we'll see. Well, I got those two nuts off, got the cotter pin out, but yeah, I think you guys can probably see this thing here. That nut there's obstructing my vision here, so that's going to come off. Hopefully this thing doesn't go bang. It's got some tension on it, I think, so we'll see. I'm going to give it a couple of love taps. Oh, there it goes. I thought it should give me clear, but not let it fall apart. Hopefully. There we go. Okay. We're out. Okay, so this one potentially is easy as long as I drilled that hole halfway close to that one. These cotter keys they've got in here are very big. The last one I only put half of it back in because I couldn't get the other half in, and they're heavy duty. They're oversized keys to start with. So, and they're clutch, so they're not gonna break. But anyway, I'm gonna wire up that other motor and see if I can get this thing in here. I think I can already see my cotter pin hole is the one on the right. It's a little too close and it's not wallered out enough. So I am going to maybe drill a new hole just outside of that one if I can get a distinct hole, and then let them, as I enlarge it, and let them join so I have a nice oblong hole, and I think that will work. Alright, I got it enlarged a little bit and a little bit further out, so I'll take this hardware and actually those can just stay. Those aren't even necessary. They're not doing anything, those two nuts there. It's just held on with the two nuts on the other side, so just got to put this in there and wrap it all up and rewire it with just twisty wisties and see if it works and come back with the soldering iron. I got it professionally wired up. I still don't have the cotter pin in, but it's working, so that's good news. Let's see if I can get it oriented here so I can. There's the hole. Let's see if I can get it. Oops, wrong knob. Force that. I might have to have two hands. So I got all this put together and it's working. The problem is the clutch is a little too. All right, underneath there it is soldered with heat shrink tubing and some that cloth. It's a pseudo electrical tape. It's like the cloth tape that the stereo installers use. I kind of like that stuff. It looks a little nicer. Anyway, so that one's done. I'm going to come over here. Got this other one. I've got to solder this one together. The other issue was this clutch right here is slipping. Well, let me get it up. I twist. See how the wrist kind of slides? It's, you know, again, this thing was made so that some kid or some adult just doesn't keep grinding the motor, but that piece slides inside that nylon coupling, so either needs more force or more coefficient of friction. This is good stuff. If you recognize that, you're as old as I am, or you like the Signing Alive skids, or maybe you just like the blues. I don't know. So I'm going to go the coefficient of friction. I figured I could just spray some WD-40 in there and let it wait 6 months or 6 years, and it would definitely, it would solidify. But this will be a little faster. I'm going to try some belt dressing. Squirt a little in there. It's probably going to squirt back in my face. Get that smeared around. Maybe I'll squirt some on the other side here. So what this belt dressing is made for is fan belts. If you got a squeaky fan belt and it's sliding, so it's not too different than hairspray, I guess. I remember hairspray back in the day. That was a long time ago, frankly. Combs were a long time ago. So this is not going to work right away because it's still liquid. It's going to have to dry and kind of get tacky. So it may not, while I'm here today, it may not work. But I believe that this will be better once that kind of dries and gets, it's just going to be kind of sticky. And I think that will help that. So in the meantime, while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and solder these up a little bit better. Well, solder them up. They're just twisted at the moment. So I was helping show some guy how to solder the other day, and doing something like this, you almost never have that third set of hands you need to, like, one to hold it together, one to hold the soldering iron, and one to hold the solder. So what you do is you load up both ends, focus both wires, load them up with solder, put a dab of solder on your soldering iron, and then heat them and hold it till it solidifies, and you're done. But before I do that, I'm going to slip a heat shrink tube on both of these. You see, I've already got a whole bunch of solder on all these tips. I know it's not focusing. It's focusing on everything but what I want. There, that's a little bit better. Because usually when you're doing this kind of stuff in a robot or the back of a pinball machine, you're not going to have somebody holding your wires for you. You're going to be by yourself. So, you know, that's the way, at least the way I do it. Alright, so I got the second one wired up, so it's still slipping a little bit, not quite as much, but that still hasn't dried yet, so let's see if I can do something with it. Oh, I gotta, geez, I'm gonna have to use my foot. I can't, well, I'll just use a few of the fingers. There we go. Yeah, I couldn't hold all 5 fingers and get that at the same, so I was only using 3 like that, and I dropped it. Oh well. But it's working. Hopefully that clutch tightens up a little bit, but if not, I imagine some time with that will help. We'll see. Anyway, I hope y'all like this video. If you do, click like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Anybody that thinks the scientists, geeky people don't have a sense of humor, well, yeah, they do. It's just a little drier than most people's. Well, dry, wet, whatever. Yeah, pun not intended. Yeah, whatever. Anti-pun.